When the sun disappeared on the Eastern Front, the war did not sleep. Across the dark forests and frozen plains, distant artillery flashed beneath the moonlight, and from remote, barely lit airfields, a different kind of weapon prepared to strike. Their aircraft were slow, fragile, and already considered obsolete. Made of wood and canvas, they were never meant to survive modern warfare. But the pilots who flew them were anything but weak. They were young women, many barely out of their teens, stepping into the darkness night after night to face one of the most dangerous missions of the war. With gloved hands, tightening straps, and frost forming on cockpit glass, they prepared in silence. There were no speeches, no celebrations, only focus. As darkness deepened, the engines came alive and the night war began. The small biplanes lifted from dirt runways and climbed into the cold sky, guided by stars, instinct, and memory. There were no radios, no radar, and almost no protection. Only trust. As they approached enemy territory, the pilots performed a terrifying maneuver. They cut their engines. Suddenly, the aircraft vanished into silence, gliding through the darkness like shadows in the sky. From the ground, the only sound was a faint whisper drifting overhead. Then, without warning, the bombs fell. The explosions were small, but their effect was devastating. Enemy camps erupted in confusion. Sleep became impossible. Fear became constant. Searchlights tore through the night sky. An anti-aircraft fire lit the darkness as gunners fired blindly at the unseen threat above. At the last possible moment, engines roared back to life. The fragile biplanes twisted and slipped through gunfire, disappearing once more into the night. Many returned riddled with bullet holes, wings torn, frames shaking, but they returned. Before dawn, the aircraft touched down on dark airstrips, their missions complete. The pilots climbed out exhausted, frozen, and silent, only to prepare for another flight. Night after night, they flew again. By the end of the war, these pilots had flown tens of thousands of missions, becoming one of the most feared night bomber units in history. The enemy gave them a name born from fear and frustration. They called them the Night Witches. Their legacy proved that courage does not always roar. Sometimes it arrives quietly, on the wings of the night. They were the 588th Night Bomber Regiment, later honored as the 46th Guards Night Bomber Aviation Regiment, a unit that turned silence into a weapon and darkness into protection. Flying fragile aircraft against overwhelming odds, they rewrote what courage looked like in war. Long after the engines fell silent, their story endured, not in the roar of victory, but in the quiet terror they brought to the night sky. They were not ghosts, they were not myths, they were the Night Witches, and history will never forget them.